everybody. We are back today with Brandy of Brandygirl Astrology and Tarot. Want to throw that out there. And we are back today. I'm not really sure this isn't not really sure what to call this. It's kind of just like event charts. We are going to be looking at the charts for P. Diddy or Diddy or Puff Daddy or whatever the fuck he goes by anymore. The charts for his arrest and for the raids on his houses in Miami and Los Angeles. And what's interesting I thought about these, the raids on his homes in Miami and Los Angeles happened right after a lunar eclipse. And then his arrest happens right before the lunar eclipse in September. It was actually supposed to take place the day of the lunar eclipse. So we've got this. It makes me wonder, like, what information came across their desk to go in early. I'm nosy. I'm curious.
Eclipses, they will get you.
Yeah.
Yeah, astrology doesn't lie. Eclipses can be really positive, but it can also be, I think it's in some way positive for the victims here. Yeah.
Yeah. Positive for everybody but him.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm just gonna read what Wikipedia has. I don't think it's really necessary to go too much into. I mean, I feel like people know who he is. He's the one that founded Bad Boy Records. He's a rapper, record producer, record executive, credited with the discovery and cultivation of artists such as, Notorious B.I.G., won different awards, all this shit. I mean, people, I think, know who he is, so I don't think I need to go too much into that. And if you don't, you can Google.
Wikipedia.
Yeah. So there are, there have been, from what I understand, rumblings of his fuckery for years, decades, from what I understand. I mean, other rappers like Eminem bringing him up in songs, having done shit, and so it's been something that has been, I don't know, discussed, maybe not as openly as it's being discussed now, but it is something that has come up. And this all seemed to get kicked off by, he was sued by his ex Cassie in November of 2023. This was settled in less than 24 hours, though, which kind of, I think, it seems like that made people wonder if he settled because he was actually guilty of what she was claiming. They dated from 2007 through 2018 on and off. She claimed that he would beat her, rape her, force her to have sex with male sex workers, she also alleged that he blew up Kid Cudi's car after, which is that's quite an accusation to make. I honestly don't know too much about that, but that sounds real fucked up if that's true. So the way that she makes it sound, it kind of sounds like she wasn't so much a girlfriend as she was somebody for him just to, I don't know, do terrible things to, which is awful. After this, he was flooded with sexual misconduct related lawsuits in late 2023 into 2024. In December of 2023, there's somebody that goes by Jane Doe who alleges that she was sex trafficked and gang raped by him, and the former Bad Boy president and another person in 2003. I believe she was she said she was 17 at the time, so underage. Some other allegations came out in 2024 this year. Fuck, that's loud. You hear that?
I did hear that.
Sounds like
a little bit.
Gonna fall on the house. Okay. on my cabana. It's gonna fall down. Okay, so some other allegations came out in 2024. The main one seems to be from Lil Rod, who claims that he groped him, tried to groom him into engaging in sex acts, and forced him to solicit sex workers, some who were underage. He also accuses Diddy of drugging him and And he brings up an incident at Chalice Recording Studio that resulted in a man being shot after a heated conversation in September of 2022. Now, it's interesting. We've got two people, different situations. One is blowing up a car. The other one is somebody getting shot. But we're seeing something happen where people are alleging that he's doing a bunch of violent shit. And I mean, like, not that the beatings and the sex trafficking and the raping isn't violent enough. It absolutely is. But I mean, shooting and it's
All of the above. Like
all of the above. Yeah.
that's crazy.
So all of these, and there were others, I believe, too. These were just some of the highlights, if you will. Homeland Security raided both of his homes in Miami and Los Angeles on March 25th of 2024. And the Southern District of New York is leading this case. And I probably should have said this at the beginning, but this is like what we're going to be talking about here. None of it's easy, none of it's pleasant. Things like, things coming up like rape and sexual assault and all, sex trafficking and all that. I probably should have put a trigger warning here about that. So I apologize in advance if you all feel triggered by anything that I said. Certainly was not my intention. Should we look at the charts?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to share the screen. Hope I pull the right one. Okay. Okay, so should we start with this one? This is the one from when he was arrested, or should we look at the one?
Let's start with this. It's like the most recent, and then we can look back, if you will.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is from Monday, September 16th of 2024 at 7:13 p.m. in New York when he was arrested.
This is such a literal chart, and most forensic or event astrology is, but some are like really literal. And I'm trying to think. Are we looking at the ascendant for P. Diddy in this event? Because usually that's victims.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
but this deals with him, right? So I feel like he's the ascendant.
I feel like he probably is, because this arrest happened to him. He's not
exactly.
He
probably feels like a victim.
He probably does, and I guess we innocent until proven guilty kind of thing. But there's a lot. I mean,
well, we can even like see. Okay, so if he's the ascendant, he's Mars, and he's co-ruled by the moon. And if you look at that moon right there with Saturn in the 12th house, where 12th house rules imprisonment, it's so literal. Like, yeah, this is where he's getting arrested and getting imprisoned and denied bail.
And there have been rumblings of or I'll see people make comments like this week, like Diddy did not kill himself, kind of like Epstein did not kill himself, sort of thing. And when I saw those at first, I was kind of like, yeah, whatever. But then I'll be honest, I look at this chart and I'm kind of like, huh. I mean, because there is a train of thought that perhaps he was doing this. He was kind of like Epstein of the rap world. If Epstein was, say, blackmailing people, getting people in compromising positions that they, maybe not unwillingly put themselves in, but, ended up in, and you wind up with a little blackmail from it. There is something people talk about that.
Yeah, and Saturn being right there by the moon, that's kind of concerning. Doesn't mean it has to play out a certain way. It could just be like you're stuck, you're restricted, because he just got denied bail again yesterday, like on an appeal. And so, but yeah, there's something kind of weird with Saturn there.
There is
kind of Epstein-like. I'll say that.
There is, and even with that other, not the other ruler. I was gonna say the ruler of the ascendant, in the 4th.
Mm-hmm. And in a fall.
Yeah. There is something about all that I'm kind of like, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say obviously I don't want to predict anybody's death, but it does make me kind of wonder if I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's off the table. I'll put it like that.
Is this the same? Is this the same correctional facility or jail that Epstein was in?
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, because I know it was New York, and hopefully the cameras are working this time, and people are doing the watches and doing everything they're supposed to be doing. Hopefully
let's
they learned.
you know what? I'm gonna look that up because I want to say, wasn't the
I
Southern District of New York heading
I,
Epstein's as
I
well?
think so, and I think it was Manhattan, and I believe P. Diddy.
Great. It says he is incarcerated at Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn.
Who, Epstein or P. Diddy?
P. Diddy.
Oh, he's in Brooklyn. Okay,
Well,
I thought
let's just I just want to let's see. I'm just curious. Just kind of curious. Um, okay, so yeah, Epstein was, yeah, I was gonna say I thought he was New York, but I wanted to double check. Yeah, he was Metropolitan Correctional Center, New York.
Okay.
Different, yeah.
Well, hopefully they still learn from the others. They got cameras working, they're doing watches, they're
Making sure people aren't fucking falling asleep.
exactly. The fact that Neptune
Yeah,
is
I know that.
sitting on that ascendant is
Gross.
it is. Yeah, that's a good word. I was like, I don't even know what I want to call that, but unsettling for sure.
Yeah, I'm not, it makes me like it's like everything well, it definitely puts a fog over it, right? Like
Yeah, delusion, all sorts of things going on there. Hmm.
I'm looking at the house, the 12th house, in a chart like this could easily be imprisonment, right? Which is quite
Mhm.
literally what's going on here. And then we have, we've got the traditional ruler of Aquarius, Saturn in Pisces, right in the 12th. We also have the modern ruler, though, in the second.
Yeah.
Which does make me think about things that he has.
Things that he had, he's trying desperately to get out on bail. He's like offered 100 million. He's offered houses, his mother's house.
He offered his mom's house. His
He
mom's
did.
house.
Well, as a collateral or whatever. Yeah,
Did his
his
mama
own
want him to
mama's
do that?
house.
Did his mama
I,
want him to do that?
I don't. That's what I think I read. You guys
No,
might fact.
it probably is, but I'm like thinking, you're offering up your mama's house?
Yeah, like trying to secure bail with that, and could be something like that. There's something I'm trying to figure out how I'm getting this, but just kind of looking at overall placements of things. I'm getting, and maybe it's that Pluto in the 11th house of friendships and acquaintances. But, other people have been arrested already between March and now for some things going on. I'm pretty sure. But this makes me think P. Diddy or Sean, I don't know. And I'm not being crappy. I honestly don't know what name he goes by right now.
I don't
That's
either.
not my genre, but I'll say P. Diddy. I feel like P. Diddy is taking the fall. Why do I feel like everyone's going to start working with either prosecution, and it's just going to be him?
Yeah, I'm wondering about that myself. And it probably is Pluto it very well could be Pluto in the 11th with it being the modern ruler of the 8th. Secrets.
And it's retrograde. It's kind of like, okay, I'm going to go back and man, I feel like that's kind of a talking thing, oddly, like.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it absolutely could be. And especially in such a public house like the 11th is, much kind of like secrets from long ago or whatever coming out.
Yeah. And Pluto is at 29 degrees, that anaretic degree. It's intense because this is the last time it's going to be 29 degrees Capricorn for a couple hundred years. This is intense Pluto. We're going to, this isn't the only thing in the news we're going to see,
No, it's not. No, I agree with you about that.
Hold on. This is just the beginning, maybe. But
Yeah.
there's also that Jupiter and Gemini in the third house on this chart. Third house is conversation, talking. And Jupiter being in that detriment,
But it's gonna expand it.
it's gonna expand it. Like I feel like he's digging a hole, man. Like when I see this, like
Word vomit.
yes, and like in the wrong direction though. Like I'm just gonna keep lying. I'm not saying, yeah, I'm not gonna accuse him of lying, but this is what I get from Jupiter in this chart. Like I'm gonna just keep telling this story, lying and
Offering up my mama's house.
offering mama's house. And it feels like he truly thinks he can talk his way out of this.
Well,
Which I mean, I can't help but to laugh because I'm like, these are serious charges. It's not one charge. It's a lot.
it is. Sex trafficking, racketeering,
Kidnapping.
a whole, it makes me wonder though about that. Is it this to me also feels like somebody, and perhaps it is like the retrograde motion of Pluto, somebody who's gotten away with something for a while.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm wondering how many times maybe we didn't hear about that. I mean, obviously maybe not a raid of his homes of this magnitude, but I do wonder how many times he's been questioned perhaps or things have come up with law enforcement. I mean, I know the feds aren't going to come in unless they have a pretty tight case. They're not like, they generally don't because they don't generally want to lose. You know what I mean? And this isn't
I think they do their research a lot of times too.
because then they have a high, I believe it's a pretty high conviction rate, like because they're not gonna, if they don't have something that's pretty tight, they're not gonna do it. I mean, and this is the feds doing this. This isn't like local government or something going after him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do, because we're kind of looking at this opposite a little bit, than like a crime chart or what have you. I do like that the seventh house is in Libra,
Scales of
the sign of justice. Yeah. And Venus is sitting in that house in Libra. Like I mean, innocent till proven guilty. Okay. But this chart makes me think he's done.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm very much feeling that way as well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because his Mars is terribly placed. The other side is very well placed. And
also
Venus is in Mars's fall, right? Or detriment, excuse me.
Yeah. And this is also trying this Jupiter. So it's like the more he talks or the more other people even talk, the more. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't know what he has working for him here because it's just, he's not placed well.
No, he's not. Should we look at the one for the 25th of March?
Yeah. When it began, or at least when publicly it began, right?
Yes. So this is when 3:30 p.m. in Miami, which would have been 12:30 p.m. Los Angeles. I'm assuming they did them at the same time. I can't believe they would raid one house and then wait like hours to do the other. I figured they were both executed at the same time. But okay, like this, and like okay, like the Diddy did not kill himself thing. And in this chart, you've got the ruler in the eighth. I don't know. There's just something about it. I don't know.
Looking at it from his standpoint too, the fact that he's in the eighth makes, going back to the area of secrets.
Being
and then like, yeah, right there with Neptune. I mean, you're still within orb, and then Venus is there exalted. Again, I feel like he's like, I'm getting away with this. Like, just don't talk. Like, I don't know. And it seems arrogant. Maybe that's that Leo ascendant as well, but and the sun is exalted. There's something about an exaggeration, like an arrogance, if you will.
Yeah, there is. There definitely is. We have that moon in Libra.
Almost be a combusta, like almost.
Almost, yeah.
It's, if you're looking at the direction it's going, we know it's going into a bad place. This moon does not do well between 15 Libra, 15 Scorpio. And so it does, I think that does foreshadow, yeah, things are getting ready to get worse.
I think it does too.
He must not have an astrologer, because they would probably look at this and be like, it is about to get bad. Like, prepare.
I was wondering if there was something by that moon. There, it's kind of too, it's like, I think it's probably too far. It's like 2 degrees between two. Probably too far.
What's that 10th house? That Jupiter, Uranus,
Hmm.
which can be like the public, law enforcement. Man, Jupiter's on their side.
Yes. Yeah. It does feel like it is. Which is, yeah. Definitely, though, I might think law enforcement found things that which makes sense here, that perhaps they did keep a secret, did not reveal with the ruler of that midheaven in the 8th. My guess is they probably did find shit. I'm also thinking that they may have found, how do I want to say this? It's like taking note of something that like they may not, he may not think they would have taken note of, but they did.
I remember when this happened, because I was thinking, for them to search all these homes, they have just cause. They know, they have a reason.
Yes.
And then I do remember some people getting arrested around him.
Yeah.
And I was so confused, because I'm like, these are his houses, but yet
His son, I believe his son was actually one of those people who was detained. I don't know if he was arrested or just detained.
Just detained, maybe.
But one of them, yeah, but one of his sons was, because he happened to be there. And you know, the way that I took it, and I could be wrong about this, I could be fucked up about this, but it kind of seemed like he left his son there to take the fall, which is fucked. If that is the case,
Fact.
and that is how I took it. Like he took off. I remember he took off somewhere on a boat or a plane or some shit, and his son was there. And I remember thinking to myself, like, I mean, I got a son. I would not be leaving my son there to take the fall, not that I'm doing anything like that at all. But, if I would not be, I would not be leaving my child to take the fall for any bullshit.
No, but look what this guy's capable of. Well, at least what he's being accused of. We know there's some character flaws if this happens to be true.
That's true. And maybe I read it wrong. Maybe it wasn't like his son actually taking the fall, but that's how I took it. It's like, the fuck, take your kid. What's wrong with you? Get your kid out.
Yeah. I the fact that it took like almost 6 months for P.Diddy to get there. I mean, these people must be talking, because they've been building that case for 6 months. So interesting that it aligns around the eclipses. Doesn't surprise me, but it's just another mind-blowing, like, wow, astrology is a real thing.
Yes, it really, yeah, it really is. Like we see, people will talk about, oh, I don't believe in it. And it's like, well, that's fine. You don't have to believe in it. Just observe what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. There's
In
evidence.
your own life and collectively. You don't need to believe in shit. Like, I don't need to believe in a computer to see what it does, right?
Yes. Yes. There tends to be a pattern around astrology, and it tends to reflect, right? And yeah.
I wonder how many people were arrested. Now I'm kind of curious, or detained or whatever, because we do have 4 things in this house with him. And I do wonder if there were 3 others.
I'll see if I can do a search real quick.
Let me see. While you're doing that. Okay, so the ascendant in this chart is near it's like a degree in 20 minutes from a fixed star at 1335. Leo represents astrology.
There you go.
Writing, perseverance, domestic problems, poisons, and liars. Interesting. That sun is too far away from one. Does it say?
I can't easily find it. I'll say that. I was going to skim through this article, but
Well, if you can't, let's just throw this out there for anybody watching this. If you know how many people happen
do
to
the research for us.
you know, because I know y'all like to comment on this stuff. And you know, by all means, this is, I mean, we always welcome any kind of comments, right? As long as they're like nice or not, you know, they don't have to, you don't have to agree with us, just be, you know, civil when you do it.
Be polite.
Yeah, be polite. Have some fucking decorum. You know,
And I'm laughing at Ellie, to be clear. We always get in trouble for laughing. I'm not laughing at victims, not laughing at I'm laughing at Ellie saying have some fucking decorum. Yeah, that's funny to me when we're talking about being polite.
Yeah, that's why can't help myself. But if anybody knows how many people were actually arrested or detained at this time, throw it out there in the comments, because that is really interesting that he isn't, you know, this house is so packed. Also interesting that he's the only Aries.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
It doesn't to me either, but it's very literal, like,
yeah,
whatever this is. And then we've got this.
But I'm the sun exalted. I'm
yes, exactly.
I'm untouchable.
Yeah, like it's just
that's what like Aries, not for people who have this in a natal chart, just kind of looking at an event chart, you know, it's kind of what it screams, right? It's very strong, and Aries rules arrogance. Yeah. And sometimes a little arrogance is healthy, like, don't get me wrong, but like in this case, this is
somebody who feels like they're never going to get burned by the sun.
Yeah.
I also, is there anything else you wanted to look at in this one?
You know, each chart, there's 6 house activity. We got Pluto here. The last one, I believe it was the sun and Mercury, but just shows he's being watched.
Yes, there's a
secretly being watched, and maybe he could assume that's happening, but I don't know if he realizes how much he's being watched. There's probably someone,
you know,
close by in the house, or
I was going to say literal family.
That, or even, you know, 6th house is also service.
Yes. Or even like, you know, the family that he has created, which may not be his home family, but with that modern ruler, right, of the 14.
Yeah.
People, family, something that he considers family. I guess that doesn't have to be literal family. You know, but
family though. Yeah. People have written that. Yeah.
It does make me wonder if any of them are the talkers, perhaps. If you know,
someone's not as close as he thinks they are. Yeah. Or the relationship's not as good as he thinks, maybe. Yeah. Good for them. This stuff makes me mad. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, you have had a quote successful career. You have money.
What are you doing?
Why do you have to do the crappy things? And I know innocent until proven guilty, but it seems like they got a lot of evidence. So
yeah, and you know, this is something that, you know, there have been rumblings of it for years, quiet, kind of, you know. It's like an innocent until proven guilty, but I kind of feel like in a lot of ways, the court of public opinion, even if it's opinion, is important. And this is like, I think a lot of people have opinions about this.
Oh yeah.
This is, you know, now this is his natal chart. Now I will say this, there is no time of birth for him. I just set it to noon. But the houses should probably be disregarded, just because I
just look at the planets, and the moon should be in Virgo either way. It'd be like 6.5 degrees each side. So it should be a Virgo.
Okay, yeah, okay. He should be a Virgo.
This is a 12 p.m. So yeah.
Because I didn't, on Astro Gold on the Mac, I didn't know how to pull a chart without houses. So.
I'm trying to figure it out too. And I know it's probably capable, because that software has everything.
This program is capable. Yeah, it's capable of like all kinds of wizardry. So
whoever is watching out there who is, and you know what, I probably could Google it and just haven't done that yet. But if you happen to know how to do no houses on Astro Gold, leave us a comment. Help some sisters out. Don't make us look it up ourselves.
So the moon being in Virgo, Sun is obviously in Scorpio. His birthday, November 4th, 1969, in Harlem, New York. Mars stands out. I know it's in the first house of this chart, might not be there, but it does stand out.
It's a strong Mars.
It is a strong Mars.
Mars does, and I'm not saying everybody who has Mars and Capricorn has this, we're looking at a lot of things, but Mars in general does rule sex. And this is a strong Mars. And
yeah, and it's an exalted Mars.
Yeah, exactly.
Exaltation.
29 degrees as well. There's intensity, it's exalted.
Yes. And people can do some wonderful things with that exaltation of Mars. I've also seen it go very, very wrong.
It's got great control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It in his,
you use it for good.
Yeah.
It can be very, very good thing to have.
Mm-hmm.
But like anything, we can use things good to good, or we can use it for bad, or where we apply our energy is a whole other thing.
Which does make me wonder where this would be.
Let me tell you something about this. And if you have this in your natal chart, I'm looking at just with the story we know about this guy, because everybody, like I said, everybody can take energy and use it differently. This Mars is squaring that Venus in Libra, another strong planet. It's at home. And Jupiter's right there as well, expanding this. Like sometimes when you get Mars and Venus together, there's like a magnetism, it's attraction. It's very interesting. And we got Jupiter here, but it's squaring, right? Like, I do wonder if there's trouble using that energy effectively.
Yeah, I think, and if there is, we'll say this, if there is trouble because we have this Mars exalted, it's going to be exaggerated.
Big time.
Yeah. I also want to mention, I don't have transits pulled, right? But right now, the transiting north node is at like 6 degrees Aries, coming up on a conjunction with this Chiron. Which
that eclipse in April hit that Chiron, didn't it? Or by sign, right?
I believe so.
The April 8th solar.
Well, the one in but the lunar eclipse may have. Let me see. Let me go back.
Oh yeah, in March.
Yeah. Yep. Because
there you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it hit. So it was lighting up perhaps pain. And of course, this doesn't have to go that way. For some people that maybe had this going on, it lit up healing, right? It
could be healing. It can be a really positive shift.
But here it feels very literally, maybe not that way.
Yeah. So he'll be in that. He'll have that nodal hit when the nodes hit Pisces.
Yes.
Yes,
he'll have his nodal return.
Nodal return, yeah.
His third nodal return. Which is also interesting because nodal returns tend to, things that happen are, some people feel like they're fated or meant to be or should be. Interesting.
It'd be interesting to see who's around them around that time, or who's supporting them, or who is defending them. Because usually it's a time, depending on your beliefs, if you take an evolutionary astrology approach, it's people tend to show up in your life around these returns that, maybe are karmic or past life actions or what have you.
Absolutely. And I mean, like, even in my own life, there are people that showed up in the first one that I know. I'm like, oh, I've been around with you before.
Yeah.
and even this time, I'm going through it now, even now. So yeah, absolutely, seeing who's around him in his corner at that point in time. It'll be interesting.
Well,
I wanted to see. I also pulled his solar arcs. I realize, we don't know what houses he is, but the planets will still move, right? They'll still move that same amount of degrees. I noticed that this moon, the solar arc moon, is right on the Mercury, like right on it. Um,
And it's a via combusta moon, like in the arc, right? Like it's in a fall and
yes.
mm,
It almost makes me wonder if Mercury could be one of the rulers of his 12th house.
mm-hmm.
Kind of. It makes me wonder that. Um,
So that would make him either a Libra rising or Cancer rising. The whole sign we're
yeah,
looking.
but the Libra rising with the Venus at home, right? And that
Mm-hmm.
and then that would put this in like in the fourth. So more of a private thing, perhaps.
That'd also make his ninth house Gemini,
That
the area of justice, and that
Mhm.
might make yeah. I'm just thinking out loud.
No, yeah, no, totally. That's kind of what I was doing too. But when I saw this, like, that's a very close. I mean, they're both at 4. And with solar arcs, you want to look at like a degree, really a degree applying and separating, and to see them that close, I'm like, like that's
Yeah, because that would hit like ninth house topics like legal court trials.
and at a not like the federal stuff, right? Like his ninth house
Right.
is like the bigger courts of justice, if you know.
Right. It very possibly could be. And he's known for like his appearance, aesthetics, like that could be totally rising.
Yes. Yeah, and
Yeah.
with Jupiter there,
Mm-hmm. Bigger than life. Yeah. It would make sense. I wouldn't rule it out. That's for sure.
yeah, it definitely, yeah. I am curious, and then I see, but this doesn't matter. This does catch my attention, like it does make me wonder if, I don't know. I guess that wouldn't, I was gonna say like his ascendant, right? It's not actually there. We don't know that it's there, but this did catch my attention, probably just because it would catch my attention if I knew the time. um, and then in a few years, right? His going back to just his chart, so it's not confusing. That Saturn, he'll be in his second Saturn return, which can also be a time of,
Time of reckoning.
yeah, if there are things
Yeah.
that you need to fix or come correct about.
It feels very challenging. I feel I can see her. I don't know why I'm looking at Epstein's partner.
Oh,
Just
Ghislaine.
she was in a Saturn return when it all fell on her.
Yes, she was.
Yeah.
I know that's not just for everybody out there. I know her name is not Ghislaine, but I can't not call her Ghislaine.
I could see, I see her.
Sucks.
Yeah, I don't even know.
I think it's Galeen. I don't care. Ghislaine.
Oh.
It does. It is, there are things here though that are like coming up for him. They're going on for him. I don't know.
Yeah.
I do wonder who, I mean, not only him talking though, I do wonder who else is talking. Because I do feel like somebody else is. Somebody else is. Tick, 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 tick. Who is it?
Yep.
Want to know
They
who?
are chattering. Yep.
And why? Why now?
To CYA covering their ass.
Yeah. If y'all watching this have any thoughts about his chart or about, where you think things might be, by all means, leave them below. I'd be curious to hear other.
Yeah, viewers see a lot of things sometimes where I'm like, oh yeah, it's really neat to see their perspective as well.
Oh, totally. And like, it's hard to I mean, if you don't have the person with you, it's hard to rectify a chart, because you got to ask them, personal things that only they would know, but it's still interesting just to hear people.
I don't think he's up for it right now.
No. No, I don't think so.
I don't think it's his priorities. Although it'd be good for him to know, like, hey, how are things tracking here? It'd be good for him to know. He probably knows his birth time.
He probably does. And I think I think sometimes they keep them off. Maybe somebody has told them to keep them off for whatever reason, I
New
think.
York's tough. They don't make those things public.
But also I do know that sometimes like there won't even be the correct day of birth that's listed, which is interesting.
Yeah,
That's a
especially if
whole.
it's around midnight or so.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say about any of these?
No, I just think these charts are reflecting not a great outcome for him. And I don't know, I feel like the charts, maybe it's just my opinion, but also show that these are probably valid charges. I don't know.
Yeah, like they've been a long time coming kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of what, yeah. Again, innocent until proven guilty, but court of public opinion. Me and Brandy's own opinions, because we
We have opinions about this one.
which should not be treated as fact, but we do have opinions.
Have opinions. Exactly.
I guess then we'll go ahead and head off, but do you want to share where you can be found, Brandy?
Yes. So I can be found at brandyburrowastrology.com. I do have a new YouTube channel because a lot of you guys don't know I'm a big tarot reader. It's actually a lot of what I do. And you can now find me at a new YouTube channel that covers a lot of tarot topics at Brandy Burrow Tarot and Astrology. Please go over, give me a like, give me some support. It's just, it's new. I need a little rush of energy to kind of motivate me.
And I will put the link for that, obviously all that in the description box. And also want to throw out there, I don't usually do this, but if y'all like the videos, like them, subscribe,
comment, put an emoji, put like
comments, any, seriously. And I know that sounds like so, and I kind of hate doing that. Like my stuff, guys.
no, for real, like her stuff because it's very helpful, supportive. It lets Ellie know to keep the content coming. So
yeah,
if you like the videos and you want to see more, like that's what you can do to request it.
Yeah. And it's very, yeah. And I know that I'm not always the greatest at doing that myself, but seriously, like if you like stuff, if you enjoy something, like it, subscribe, share it, leave comments. I love engaging with y'all. Seriously, I do.
And Ellie sees every comment. I just want to put that out there. Like you read it all. You are so good at that. And
as long as I will say this about YouTube, and this could happen with this video. Sometimes people's comments, they get hidden. I am not doing that. I want to make that very clear. I am not censoring your comments.
Like a automatic filter default thing.
And
okay.
I have that turned off, and it still happens. So I want to make it really clear. If I am not seeing your comment, if I am not responding, it's because I did not see it. It's not that I'm censoring it. So seriously, and I do wonder about this video, if that might happen because of the topic.
Because of the content, might yeah, maybe.
It does seem like it happens on topics that might be a little, like the algorithm may not know which way the person's gonna go with their video. So I just want to throw that out there. I'm not just try to get a hold of me another way. If you want to say something, I'm unless you're being an asshole, I'm not ignoring you. Now, if you're being an asshole, I will ignore it, but I'll leave it up for everybody to see.
Yeah. So in other words, still go comment.
You're like the fast version, Ellie. Let's go comment. Yeah. Well, anyway, thank you for being here doing this with me.
Thank you for having me. And make sure everyone knows where to find you, Ellie, because Ellie is an amazing astrologer. Like, get a reading with Ellie. Like, tell them where to find you and order your readings and all that.
You can find me here at Saturn Season Astrology on YouTube, on Instagram at Saturn Season Astrology, and you can find me on my website for readings and all of that at SaturnSeason.com. And then it's like the services tab on the website. Well,
thank you, Ellie.
Thank you for doing this, and thank you all for watching, and I'm sure we'll see you all later.